So, about 4 years ago, I was paying $1,700 a month in rent. And honestly, it was killing me. Half my paycheck gone, every single month. I kept thinking, how am I supposed to save for a house when my rent is the thing eating my savings alive? And then someone told me about this thing called house hacking. And I'll be real with you, when I first heard the phrase, I thought it was some kind of scam. Like, hacking a house? What does that even mean? Are we breaking into houses? Is this legal? Turns out, not only is it legal, it might be the single smartest financial move a beginner can make. Here's the short version. You buy a property, you live in one part of it, and you rent out the rest. The rent from your tenants covers most or sometimes all of your mortgage. You're building equity in an asset worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And your monthly housing cost? It drops to zero, or close to it. And no, this is not some rich person's strategy. You can do this with 3.5% down, sometimes even less. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how house hacking works, the strategies that actually make sense for beginners, real numbers from real deals, and the mistakes you need to avoid. No fluff, no guru talk, just the stuff I wish someone had told me. Let's get into it. Section 1. What is house hacking, actually? Okay, let's keep this simple. House hacking is when you buy a property with more than one unit or a property with extra space, and you live in one part while renting out the rest. The most common version? You buy a duplex. You live in one unit. The tenant in the other unit pays you rent. That rent goes toward your mortgage. Your housing cost drops way down, sometimes to zero. Sometimes you even make a little profit on top. Now here's why this is so powerful, and I want you to really hear this. When you renting, every dollar you pay goes to your landlord. It's gone, forever. You building their equity, not yours. When you house hack, the money coming in from your tenants is paying down your mortgage. You the one building equity. You the one getting the appreciation when the property value goes up. And you redoing it while paying less than you would on rent. Think about that. You were paying less than a renter, but you were the owner. That's the magic. And here's the stat that made my jaw drop. The median American homeowner with a mortgage is spending 21.4% of their income on housing. That from the U.S. Census Bureau. That means for a lot of people, housing is their single biggest expense by a mile. House hacking flips that equation. Instead of housing being your biggest cost, it becomes your biggest wealth-building tool. Section 2. The FHA loan, your secret weapon. So you're probably thinking, okay, sounds great, but I don't have $80,000 for a down payment. Here's where it gets good. There's a loan program called an FHA loan. It's backed by the government, and it lets you buy a property with up to 4 units, as long as you live in one of them with just 3.5% down. Let me say that again. Up to 4 units, 3.5% down, not 20%, not 25%, 3.5%. So let's do some real math here. Say you find a duplex for $350,000. With a conventional investment loan, you'd need 20% down, that's $70,000. Most people don't have that sitting around. With an FHA loan, 3.5% of $350,000 is $12,250. $12,000. That's the barrier to entry. Now, a couple things you should know. FHA loans require a minimum credit score of 580 for that 3.5% down payment. If your score is between 500 and 579, you can still qualify, but you'll need 10% down. Also, there's something called FHA loan limits. These vary by county, so you'll want to look up what the limit is where you live. In most areas, it's high enough to cover a solid duplex or triplex. And one more thing, you have to live in the property for at least 12 months. This isn't a loophole where you buy it and immediately rent out everything. You genuinely have to live there for a year. After that, you can move out, keep the property, and rent out all the units. This is how people build real estate portfolios, one house hack at a time. Live in it for a year, move to the next one. Repeat. Section 3. The 3 best strategies for beginners. All right, let's talk strategy. There are a bunch of ways to house hack, but for a beginner, Three of them make the most sense. Strategy 1. The classic duplex. This is the OG house hack. You buy a 2-unit property, you live in one unit, a tenant lives in the other. The beauty of this setup is separation. You have your own entrance, your own kitchen, your own space. You're a landlord, but you're not sharing a bathroom with your tenant. That psychological separation matters. Trust me. With a duplex, one tenant is covering a big chunk of your mortgage. In the right market, their rent might cover 60% to 80% of your total payment. In some markets, especially in the Midwest or South, you can get to 100%. Strategy 2. Single-family home with roommates. If duplexes in your area are too expensive or just aren't available, this is your move. Buy a single-family house, preferably one with 3 or 4 bedrooms, and rent out the extra rooms. Here's the thing about this strategy. It can actually work even better than a duplex in expensive markets. If you're in a city where a duplex costs $600,000 but a 4-bedroom house costs $400,000, renting 3 rooms at $800 each gives you $2,400 a month in rental income. That could cover your entire mortgage. Is it the most glamorous living situation? No. You resharing a kitchen with people, but for a couple years, the financial payoff is massive. Strategy 3. The ADU, or garage apartment. ADU stands for accessory dwelling unit. Think garage apartments, basement apartments, or a separate tiny house in the backyard. Some properties already have these. Others, you can build or convert. The numbers can be incredible. You're essentially adding a whole rental unit to a single-family property. This one requires more upfront work or cost, but the long-term numbers are hard to beat. A separate entrance, full privacy for both you and your tenant, and a property that's worth significantly more when you sell because it has 2 rentable units. Section 4. Real numbers. Let's walk through a deal. All right, let's stop talking in theory and look at an actual deal. These are based on real numbers from a market like Indianapolis or Kansas City, not New York, not LA. Mid-sized cities are where house hacking shines for beginners. Let's say you buy a duplex for $375,000 using an FHA loan with 3.5% down. Your down payment? $13,125. At a 6.5% interest rate, your monthly principal and interest payment is about $2,290. Add property taxes, let's call it $350 a month. Add insurance, maybe $120. Your total monthly payment, roughly $2,760. Now, you live in one unit. You rent out the other for $1,600 a month. That's a realistic rent for a decent 2-bedroom unit in a mid-sized city. $2,760 minus $1,600. Your out-of-pocket housing cost? $1,160 a month. But wait, let's compare that to the alternative. If you were renting a similar 1-bedroom apartment in the same area, you'd probably be paying around $1,400 to $1,500 a month. So you're already saving $240 to $340 a month compared to renting, while building equity in a $375,000 asset. Now let's fast forward 5 years. Assuming modest 3% annual appreciation, that property is now worth about $435,000. You've also paid down your mortgage principal to about $352,000. Your equity position? Roughly $83,000. And here's what really gets me. You could move out after year 1, rent out both units, and have the property cash flow while you go do it again. That's how portfolios get built. Property by property, house hack by house hack. You're not getting any of that from paying rent. Section 5. Mistakes to avoid. Look, I'm not going to pretend this is all roses. People mess this up all the time. Here are the 4 biggest mistakes and how to avoid them. Mistake 1. Not running the numbers yourself. Never, and I mean never, take a seller's word for what the rental income could be. Go on Zillow. Check comparable rents in the area. Talk to a local property manager. If the numbers don't work with conservative estimates, walk away. Mistake 2. Underestimating expenses. Your mortgage isn't your only cost. You need to budget for maintenance figure about 1% of the property value per year. Vacancy 2. Tenants leave. You need reserves so one empty month doesn't break you. A good rule. Set aside 10% to 15% of the rent for vacancy and repairs. Mistake 3. Ignoring zoning and HOA rules. Before you buy, check local zoning. Some cities cap how many unrelated people can live in one house. Some HOAs ban rentals entirely. You don't want to buy a property, plan your whole strategy around renting rooms, and then find out it's not allowed. Do the homework up front. Mistake 4. Not screening tenants properly. You're going to be living next to or with these people. Run credit checks. Call previous landlords. Trust your gut. A bad tenant isn't just a financial problem. It's a quality of life problem when you share a wall with them. Section 6. Your first steps. So if you're watching this and thinking, okay, I want to do this, here's your action plan. Step 1. Check your credit score. If you're above 580, FHA with 3.5% down is on the table. If you're below that, start working on it now. Step 2. Find a lender who understands FHA multifamily loans. Not all lenders do. Ask specifically, do you work with FHA loans for 2 to 4 unit properties? If they hesitate, find someone else. Step 3. Get pre-approved. This tells you exactly what price range you're working with. No point in looking at $400,000 duplexes if your budget is $280,000. Step 4. Start searching. Zillow, Redfin, or better yet, find a realtor who works with investors. They'll know which neighborhoods, which property types, and which deals actually pencil out. Step 5. When you find a property, run the numbers. Conservative rent estimates. All expenses included. If the math works, make an offer. That's it. 5 steps. None of them is rocket science. It just takes action. Here's the thing I really want you to take away from this. House hacking isn't some get-rich-quick scheme. It's just math. You reduce your biggest expense while building equity in an appreciating asset. It's not complicated. It's just not what most people are taught. Most people are taught, go to school, get a job, rent an apartment, save for 10 years, maybe buy a house. And that path works. But it's slow. House hacking is just a faster version of the same thing. A smarter version. And I promise you, if I can figure this stuff out, you absolutely can. If this video helped you understand house hacking even a little bit, hit that like button. It helps more than you know. And if you want more breakdowns on real estate, credit, and building wealth as a beginner, subscribe. I'm putting out content every week to help regular people make smarter money moves. No guru stuff. Just real, practical advice. Thanks for watching. Now go run some numbers.